Most people are rushing through life, not living it. They wake up anxious, fall asleep restless, and spend the hours in between wondering why joy feels so distant. They blame the world, their work, their past. But few realize that the secret to enjoying life was never hidden out there. It was quietly waiting within, in how they think, what they choose to focus on, and the ideas they plant in the soil of their mind. Earl Nightingale was not a man of empty motivation. He didn't hand out slogans or surface-level advice. He gave people the blueprint. He reminded them that life is not something that happens to us. It is something we are continually building from the inside out, that our thoughts are the architects of our days, that our habits write the script of our future, and that joy, real joy, is never the result of luck, but of alignment with truth. This message is not entertainment. It is not noise. It is nourishment for the person who has had enough of drifting, for the listener who is ready to take the reins, to slow down long enough to reclaim the meaning in their minutes, and to begin finally living on purpose. So take a breath. Release the tension that has followed you through the day. Let go of the mental clutter that has stolen your attention. You've arrived at the threshold of something rare. Not a man speaking into a microphone, but a mind speaking to yours. Quiet, clear, and timeless. The voice you are about to hear has guided millions back to themselves, not by shouting, but by revealing. Not by promising the easy life, but by offering the good one. So pause, focus, and let the next words not merely inform you, let them reframe you. Now, let us begin.
Most people wait for happiness like it's something that arrives on a train. They imagine that once they get the promotion, once the house is paid off, once they meet the right person or reach that magical number in their bank account, life will finally begin. But the truth, which often escapes us, is that life isn't waiting for us to arrive somewhere. It's happening now. This moment, this day is life. And unless we understand how to enjoy each day as it comes, we may find ourselves having lived many years without ever really being alive. There's a quiet tragedy in people who walk through life without ever grasping that joy is not a destination but a decision. You see, the secret to enjoying every day isn't buried in the future, it's hidden in our perspective. It starts with realizing that we are the architects of our experience. Each morning we rise, we are handed a blank canvas, and it is our mind, not our circumstances, that determines what kind of picture we will paint. The colors are our thoughts, our actions, our words, our focus. The frame is the intention with which we live. The quality of the day is not dictated by the weather, the news, or the behavior of others. It is shaped by what we allow to grow in the garden of our minds. Now, most people do not know this. In fact, the majority of men and women live as if they are at the mercy of their surroundings. They believe that if the day is good, they will feel good. If something goes wrong, they will be upset. They move through life like leaves on the wind, blown by circumstance, unaware that they possess the rudder of consciousness, the ability to steer. The key, then, to enjoying every day is to reclaim that power, to understand that joy is not a reaction, it is a practice. Just as a musician must tune his instrument before he plays, we must tune our minds before we engage with the day. A person who rises and immediately fills their thoughts with gratitude, clarity, and purpose is one who has taken control of the inner weather, and once the inner weather is clear, the clouds outside can no longer cast shadows on the spirit. But this requires effort. It requires discipline, and that is why so few enjoy their days, because so few are willing to do the small inner work that produces the great outer rewards. Let me put it plainly. Enjoying life begins with enjoying the mind. And we enjoy the mind when we control what flows into it. You cannot expect to feel peace if you flood your mind with noise. You cannot expect to feel motivated if you spend your morning absorbing fear and doubt. Your mind is a garden, and each thought is a seed. If you plant seeds of frustration, impatience, and comparison, you will harvest stress. If you plant seeds of calm, appreciation, and intention, you will harvest fulfillment. Most people never make this connection. They go about their lives planting weeds and wondering why their inner world feels overgrown with worry. But those who understand this law, those who live deliberately, realize that the joy of life comes not from what happens to us, but from how we interpret and respond to what happens. You see, we are not victims of the world, we are translators of it. Two people can live the same day and come away with entirely different experiences. One sees a problem, the other sees an opportunity. One complains about the rain, the other gives thanks for the soil it nourishes. The difference is not in the day, it is in the mind. This brings us to one of the most powerful and overlooked truths in life. How you start your day determines how your day will feel. You cannot allow the world to set the tone for you. You must set it yourself. The first thoughts of the day are like the first strokes on a canvas. They shape the entire image. If the first thing you do is reach for your phone, fill your head with noise, worry, or gossip, you have already surrendered the most important moments of your life to distraction. But if you wake up with a thought of gratitude, if you breathe deeply and visualize the kind of person you want to be and the kind of life you wish to live, you will have aligned yourself with the current of well-being. This does not mean every day will go according to plan. It does not mean you will not face difficulties. But it does mean that your spirit will be prepared, your mind will be calm, and your focus will remain clear. This, my friend, is the beginning of enjoying every day, not the elimination of problems, but the cultivation of inner peace in the face of them. Too many people go through life wishing for better days instead of building them. They treat joy as a matter of luck rather than choice. But you and I know better. We know that every moment contains the seed of joy. It simply needs to be watered by attention. The person who has trained their mind to seek the good, to notice the beauty in small things, to dwell on what is right rather than what is wrong, is the person who lives a rich life regardless of their material situation. I once heard someone say that the poor man who sings is richer than the rich man who frowns. And there is great truth in that, for wealth is not only measured in dollars, it is measured in peace, in fulfillment, in the ability to find light even in the shadows. And so I challenge you, train yourself to look for the good. Each day write down one thing that moved you, one moment of beauty, one lesson learned. Do this, and you will find that joy is not hiding from you, it is waiting for you to pay attention. Let me share with you a law, one that has changed the lives of thousands who've lived by it. It is simple but mighty. Say it out loud if it resonates with you. This is not merely a phrase, it is a declaration, a seed planted in your subconscious. Today, I choose to see the good. No matter what comes, I will remain calm, grateful, and strong. This is the law of perception, and it is one of the great secrets to enjoying your life, because perception is power. The world becomes what we believe it to be. If we believe the day will bring us gifts, it will. If we believe the day will be heavy and hard, it will. Our thoughts are not just reflections, they are architects. They shape the emotional architecture of our hours, and in doing so, they shape our lives. Now you may be asking, is it really that simple? Can we really choose to enjoy each day even when things go wrong? And the answer is yes. Not only can we must. Because life is not a rehearsal. This is not a practice run. This is it. The days we overlook in search of some future victory are the very days we were meant to live. We cannot put off joy until things are perfect, because perfection is a myth. We cannot postpone appreciation until we are rich, because wealth without gratitude is poverty in disguise. We must make the decision today to live deliberately, to become the kind of person who creates meaning instead of waiting for it to appear. That is the difference between those who enjoy life and those who merely survive it. One builds joy like a craftsman builds a chair, slowly, deliberately, with attention and care. The other hopes to stumble upon it and often never does. And so I leave you with this question. What if you approached today as if it were the most important day of your life? What if you woke up and asked yourself, not what do I need to do, but how do I want to feel? What if you became the kind of person who creates an atmosphere of joy, who radiates calm in chaos, who lives with such awareness that each breath feels like a prayer? I believe you can. I believe that every single one of us holds the key to a richer, fuller experience of life, not someday, not when the stars align, but right now, in the ordinary, in the simple, in the act of waking up and deciding this is the day I will enjoy, this is the moment I will own, and from this moment on I will stop waiting and start living. Enjoying every day of your life is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of design, and the designer is you. The world does not dictate the state of your mind unless you allow it to. Circumstances may change, storms may come, but the person who has built a foundation of thought grounded in truth and purpose and gratitude will remain unshaken. And so we must begin to ask different questions. Not why is this happening to me, but what can I learn from this? Not when will things get better, but how can I get better? The person who shifts from complaint to curiosity, from resistance to reflection, is the one who unlocks the deeper joy hidden inside each moment. You see, we often think that enjoyment comes from pleasure, from ease, from entertainment. But real joy, lasting joy, is born from alignment. When our thoughts align with our purpose, when our actions align with our values, when our inner world is not at war with itself, then peace flows like a quiet river through our days. The struggle disappears not because life is easier, but because we are stronger, we are centered, we are clear, and clarity is a beautiful thing. Most people are not clear. They live in a fog of distraction and indecision, wondering why happiness feels like a mirage, but clarity, my friend, is the gateway to joy. When you are clear on what matters, you stop chasing what doesn't. When you are clear on who you are, you stop living for the approval of others. When you are clear on your purpose, every day becomes meaningful, even the hard ones. And so I encourage you, take time to get clear. What are your values? What do you stand for? What does a great day look like to you? Not to the world, not to your friends, but to you. Define it, own it, write it down, live it. Most people never do this, and as a result, they live someone else's idea of success. They follow paths they didn't choose. They compare their lives to images on a screen instead of to the vision in their own heart, and in doing so, they rob themselves of the joy that is rightfully theirs. Don't let this be you. Take control. Begin again. Choose your values, live by them, and let that alignment become the source of your joy. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the gift of attention. Attention is presence, and presence is power. We cannot enjoy life if we are not here for it, and yet how many people live in the past or the future? How many wake up and immediately begin rehearsing old regrets or projecting future fears? How many eat meals without tasting them, have conversations without listening, walk through nature without seeing? We live in a distracted age, and in that distraction, joy dies. To enjoy your life, you must show up for it. Completely, without filters, without judgment. You must learn to inhabit the present moment like a guest arriving at a sacred temple, and when you do, you will be amazed at how rich it becomes. The steam rising from a morning cup of coffee, the sound of birds in the distance, the look in a loved one's eyes, all of these moments are doorways into joy, but only if you are paying attention. And so I ask you, are you present? Are you here? Or is your mind somewhere else, waiting for a better moment to arrive? Because I will tell you the truth, the best moment is always now. The mind, left unchecked, will run. It will drift into judgment, into comparison, into anxiety. But the person who trains their mind is like a master who commands the ship with certainty. And how do we train the mind? Through the practice of awareness, through the gentle but firm return to the present. When you find yourself drifting into worry, bring yourself back to the breath. When you find yourself caught in the trap of comparison, bring yourself back to gratitude. When you find yourself moving through the day on autopilot, stop. Look around. Ask, what is beautiful here? What is meaningful here? You will find that there is always something. The tree outside your window, the light on the floor, the opportunity to choose a better thought. All of these are gifts. All of these are reminders that life is not something happening to us. It is something unfolding through us. And when we meet life with presence, life responds with presence. When we meet the moment fully, the moment fills us fully. Let me give you another law, one that can carry you through every season of your life. I am fully present. I see what others miss. Joy finds me because I am here to receive it. Say it, write it, let it settle into your being. Because the truth is, most people miss the joy of life not because it is hidden, but because they are elsewhere. But not you. You are learning to return to yourself, to your breath, to this very moment. And from that return you reclaim the power that is rightfully yours. The power to choose how you will meet the day, the power to enjoy the little things, the power to decide that no matter what happens outside, peace will remain inside. This is not a fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual maturity. This is self-mastery, and it is available to every single person who is willing to take responsibility for their inner life. There is a phrase that says, wherever you go, there you are. And how true it is. If you carry tension inside you, you will bring that tension to every situation. If you carry peace inside you, you will bring that peace with you like a lantern in the dark. So the real question is not, how can I change my circumstances? The real question is, how can I change myself? When we stop trying to rearrange the furniture of life and begin to rearrange the furniture of the mind, we gain real power. The person who can calm themselves is more powerful than the person who can command armies. The person who can find joy in the simple is richer than the person who owns all the complex. And the person who wakes each day with a heart ready to receive the beauty of life is living a life that many dream of but never taste. Because they have forgotten where the secret lies, it lies within. And what about those difficult days? What about the moments of pain, disappointment, or loss? Are we to pretend they don't exist? No, we are to meet them with grace. You see, the goal is not to avoid hardship, it is to walk through it with our joy intact. It is to remain anchored when the waves rise. And we do this by accepting what is and loving ourselves through it. Pain is not the enemy, it is a messenger. It tells us what needs attention, what needs healing, what needs to be released. And when we meet it with compassion, it becomes a doorway, not a prison. Even in sorrow, there can be beauty. Even in endings, there can be beginnings. The person who can hold both grief and gratitude is the person who has truly learned to live, for they have made peace with life as it is, not as they wish it to be. And that acceptance, that surrender, is not weakness, it is strength, it is freedom, it is the soil in which true joy can grow. You and I, we are not meant to live halfway. We are not meant to sleepwalk through our days waiting for something to change. We are meant to wake up, to rise, to declare that this day, this one, is worthy of our full presence. And so I invite you right now to make a choice, to stop postponing your joy, to stop waiting for the perfect conditions, to stop giving your power away to things you cannot control. You are here, you are alive, you are capable of creating a beautiful day, not because everything will go right, but because you will choose what is right, in your thoughts, in your words, in your heart, and from that choice, joy will bloom, quietly, steadily, until one day you realize you've built a life worth waking up to. One of the most powerful realizations you can ever have is this: your day does not begin when the sun rises, it begins the moment you decide it does. And with that decision, you set into motion a chain of thoughts, actions, and attitudes that shape your experience. Every morning is a silent question: how will I live today? And the answer is not found in your circumstances, but in your awareness. The person who rushes into the day without intention is like a ship setting sail with no map, no compass, and no destination. But the person who pauses even for 5 minutes to direct their mind, to remind themselves of their values, to speak a truth aloud, that person has already won. They have already separated themselves from the 95% who live reactively, who drift from one obligation to the next, who think joy is a reward rather than a skill. And so we begin here with the power of morning thought. If you want to enjoy your day, master your morning. Set the tone, establish the atmosphere, choose your mindset the way a composer chooses notes. Do not let the world write your song for you. Let me be clear, enjoying your day does not mean that everything goes your way. It means that no matter what happens, you remain in control of how you interpret the experience. This is the distinction between living reactively and living powerfully. A reactive person lets the outside world determine the inside world. But a powerful person, one who has trained their mind, knows that the inner world creates the outer experience. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you can choose to be angry or amused. If a task becomes harder than expected, you can choose to grow or complain. If a goal is delayed, you can choose to despair or deepen your patience. Every moment presents a fork in the road, and in that choice lies your freedom. This is the great secret of emotional sovereignty, the power to assign meaning. And those who assign empowering meanings live empowering lives. This is not fantasy, it is discipline, it is practiced awareness, and it is available to anyone willing to stop blaming and start building. I want to give you another law. Let it sink in deeply, and if it resonates, say it aloud and write it down. This is the law of inner atmosphere. My peace is my responsibility. I carry it with me untouched by noise, unmoved by storms. This is not a denial of reality, it is a command over it. Because when you claim responsibility for your own peace, you claim the highest form of power available to man. Most people have opinions, few have peace. Most people speak loudly, few speak clearly. Most people react, few respond. But the man or woman who builds a still place within themselves, who can think clearly in chaos, act calmly in conflict, and return to center when the world pulls them outward, that person enjoys a kind of freedom few will ever know. And that kind of freedom cannot be purchased, cannot be given, cannot be borrowed. It must be built, slowly, through the practice of choice again and again. You might wonder how this connects to enjoying life. The connection is simple. Joy lives in the now, and we cannot be in the now if we are constantly at war with our reactions. Each time you choose patience over anger, acceptance over resistance, clarity over confusion, you clear a space for joy to enter. It doesn't need to be summoned, it's always been there. You've simply made room for it. The person who cannot enjoy the small things has not yet discovered the depth of their own power. Because if you can enjoy silence, if you can enjoy stillness, if you can smile at the warmth of a cup in your hand or the feeling of sunlight on your face, then you have mastered something rare and precious: contentment. And contentment is not the absence of ambition, it is the presence of perspective. It is knowing that while you strive for more, you are deeply grateful for what is. And in that paradox, joy is born, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a steady undercurrent flowing through your day like music under words. Let's speak now about momentum. Momentum is one of the great hidden engines of daily joy. Once your day begins to move in a positive direction, it becomes easier to keep it there. But the reverse is also true. Negativity compounds. One negative thought leads to another. One complaint leads to three. One distraction spirals into wasted hours. That's why you must take command early. You must create positive momentum, celebrate small wins, notice what's working, speak affirmations aloud, give a compliment, breathe deeply. These acts are not trivial. They are foundational. They are like kindling on a fire. Once the flame is burning, it feeds itself. But you must light the match. Don't wait to feel good. Act in a way that generates good feeling. Take care of something. Do one thing you've been avoiding. Say thank you out loud. These are not hacks. They are ancient practices of tuning the mind and spirit, and they work. They always work, if only we remember to use them. And let's not forget the role of service. A life enjoyed is a life that gives. When we focus only on ourselves, our joy shrinks. But when we focus on serving others, on adding value, on lifting burdens, on brightening someone's day, our joy expands. Because we are not isolated beings. We are connected. And what we give, we receive. If you want to enjoy your life more, find someone else to uplift. Send a message of appreciation. Give something without expecting anything in return. Hold space for someone's truth. The paradox of joy is that it multiplies when it is shared, and yet most people hoard it, waiting for more before they give any away. But you are different. You understand that joy is not something we find, it is something we give, something we build, something we become. And the more you become it, the more the world reflects it back to you. This is not philosophy, this is law. And speaking of law, here's another one to write on your heart. I am a source of joy. I give it freely and it returns to me in abundance. This is the law of reflection. What you emit, you attract. If you want more joy, be more joyful. If you want more peace, be more peaceful. If you want more love, become more loving. Do not wait for life to change, become the change. Most people misunderstand this. They say, when I have more, I'll give more. But life does not respond to withholding. It responds to overflow. Give first, and you will have more to give. This is the rhythm of the generous spirit, and it is one of the great secrets to enjoying every single day. The secret is not in what you get, it's in what you give, who you are, and how you serve. And now let's speak plainly. Joy is a decision. It is not always easy. It is not always automatic, but it is always available. In every room, in every task, in every breath. You simply have to look for it, choose it, and protect it. Protect it from cynicism. Protect it from complaining. Protect it from the temptation to drift back into unconscious living. You have this moment. That is all you ever have. And if you can find joy here, yes, here in the ordinary, in the quiet, in the effort, then you have discovered a rare treasure. Because this, right now, is your life. And the person who learns to enjoy it now will be the person who enjoys it always. If you truly want to enjoy every day of your life, you must learn to value simplicity. In our culture of more, bigger, faster, we've been led to believe that satisfaction is a result of accumulation. That the more we have, the more we will feel. But the truth is often the opposite. Joy doesn't live at the top of the mountain. It lives in the breath it takes to begin the climb. It lives in the smile of a child, in the sound of laughter, in the stillness of morning light. The most fulfilled people I have known were not the ones with the largest bank accounts, but the ones with the sharpest eyes and the softest hearts. They noticed things. They gave thanks often. They moved slowly enough to feel what was happening around them. Simplicity is not the absence of richness, it is the refinement of it. It's knowing what truly matters and letting the rest fall away. In every home and every day there are quiet miracles, but you must be unburdened enough to see them. If your mind is constantly racing, your eyes will miss the beauty right in front of you. If your schedule is overfilled, your heart will remain underfed. Let me share a truth that may surprise you. Your day is not something you survive, it is something you shape. And one of the most powerful shaping tools you have is your language. The words you speak to yourself become the atmosphere in which you live. If you constantly say, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, this day is stressful, then your mind will take those statements as commands. It will deliver you an experience that aligns with those words. But if you begin to speak differently, if you say, I have everything I need to handle this, or this is the kind of day I grow from, then something begins to shift. Your body responds, your energy changes, your perception widens. Language is not just a reflection of your state, it is a steering wheel. It directs your focus, and your focus determines your feeling. Choose your words carefully. Speak life into your days, replace passive complaint with active affirmation, and watch how your world begins to change, not because the world changed, but because the way you relate to it did. One of the greatest ways to reclaim simplicity is to take ownership of your time. Time is not something you manage, it is something you direct. Most people do not realize this. They wake up and immediately surrender their attention to the demands of the world. But your time is your life. It is your most sacred currency. You do not spend time, you invest it. And the return you receive depends on where you place it. The person who spends 3 hours a day worrying has made an investment. The person who spends 10 minutes a day visualizing, breathing, giving thanks, that person has made a different investment. And the results are not magic. They are mathematical. If you want to enjoy your days, you must begin protecting your time like a jeweler guards a diamond. Not from people, but from mindless use. From habits that erode your clarity. From distractions that dilute your joy. When you begin treating your hours with respect, your hours begin to reward you. You get more energy, more focus, more peace. And from that space, enjoyment grows. Not as a byproduct, but as a direct result of conscious living. Here's another law, and this one must not be forgotten. I speak only what I want to experience. My words shape my world. Say it with conviction. This is the law of conscious declaration. You see, most people talk about their problems, their fears, their stress, and then wonder why those things seem to multiply. But you are learning something different. You are learning to use your voice as a tool for transformation. You are not ignoring reality. You are choosing how to respond to it. And in that choice lies your freedom. The moment you begin to speak what you